So last year, my pal Scott and I started working on a Legend of Zelda inspired tabletop role-playing game. We gave up on the project because there's some really awesome other people who are working on very similar things, but when it came time to design the main stretch goal for my Dragontown Kickstarter, the Windsong Woods mini adventure, I wanted to steal some of the ideas from that old project to create a super fun Zelda-inspired hex crawl. So I'm going to tell you all about the Windsong Woods and how I stole things from the Zelda games, and hopefully that'll give you some fun ideas about how you can take elements from your favorite video games and implement them into your D&D campaign. So first off, the Windsong Woods is a mini adventure add-on zine that comes with the Dragontown adventure. You know, I created Dragontown to be my ideal starting D&D adventure. And the Windsong Woods can be used as like a little add-on side quest thing, or it can totally work as its own standalone hex crawl. Now, how is this adventure inspired by Zelda? Let's get the most obvious stuff out of the way. So one of the major reasons the players would go into the forest is to retrieve an ancient magical sword that helped seal away a great evil long ago. Maybe that sounds familiar. There's also a giant talking tree in the middle of the forest and evil, dark, corrupted pig creature. All kinds of stuff. You know what? There's no fairy pond though, and I kind of regret not having something like that in the Windsong Woods. So obviously it's all inspired by the Lost Woods from the Zelda games. To get the magic sword in the middle of the woods, you have to find your way through this confusing and ever-changing maze. And I don't know if you would consider it a dungeon in the Zelda games, but that kind of Lost Woods Zelda dungeon feel is what I was going for in this Windsong Woods adventure. So the challenge is, how do you translate that feeling into your D&D game? I came up with a few different ideas. The first being a hex crawl. So a kind of standard tabletop role-playing game mechanic is the hex crawl. It's a series of hexagons that make up a map, each with its own environments and challenges to encounter. It takes a party of adventurers a set amount of time to make their way through a hex, and creating a hex map is a great tool to help them visualize their exploration. So in this case, I thought combining a forest maze with a hex map would work out perfectly. So the Windsong Woods has 3 major regions that all lead inward to the old tree Avani and the ancient magic sword King's Claw. But the players can't just walk to the middle of the forest and get the magical sword. That would be way too easy. Plus, just like the Lost Woods, the Windsong Woods are alive. You know, only a worthy group of adventurers can make it all the way to the middle of the Windsong Woods. Hey, I'm cutting in while I'm editing the video to tell you, because I completely forgot, that I have started a Patreon where every month I'm going to be making new tabletop role-playing games adventure zines. I'm going to be mailing them out to patrons, and I guess you can also get them digitally. If you've enjoyed all of the Dragontown stuff, or just like fantastical, whimsical, lots of illustrations and maps, role-playing game, adventure stuff, check it out. There's a link down in the description. The first month's adventure is called Flick Silverpin's Guide to the Shadespeare Mountains. I'm super pumped on it. I hope you check it out. And now back to video games inspiring dungeons. Okay, thanks. And just like a Zelda game, there has to be some kind of hook. Not a hook shot, but hook. Like an idea that permeates through the entire dungeon, or in this case, through the entire hex crawl. And that's where the Windsong comes in. It's an actual magic song that the players can hear the entire time they're exploring the forest. It's not just one song, it's constantly changing and reacting to the presence of these adventurers stomping through this magical forest. If they're in tune with the Windsong, it will help guide them through the maze. But if they're out of tune with the song, it will hinder their progress and keep them from traveling deeper into the woods. Now, I think this is kind of an original idea. At least it's not pulled directly from a Zelda game, but it also sounds like something that could be in a Zelda game. So that's cool, right? Now, I should say that even though I'm drawing this circular grid of hexes, that's not exactly how the Windsong Woods work. The hexes are actually ever shifting, and moving from one hex to another is actually completely random. Actually, no, it's not completely random. When the players are ready to move forward, they roll a nature check to see how the Windsong is reacting to their presence. If they roll well enough, the Windsong will direct them to a safer place or maybe further into the forest. And if they don't roll well, the song becomes an itch in their ear, causing confusion and restlessness. And I even made a little chart of all the bad things that can happen when the players fall out of harmony with the Windsong. You know, if they roll bad, they could become frightened of trees, which is really bad because they're in the middle of a forest filled with trees. So the whole point is that navigating the Windsong Woods is a little more complicated and confusing than navigating a normal forest. So let's say the party of adventurers is just starting their trek into the Windsong Woods. They start in Region 1, the Coppice Cleft. The DM rolls on the Region 1 table to see what they encounter in their first hex. I rolled a 7, so that means the players stumble upon a sleeping wizard who is covered in dirt and moss. Now, how the players react to discovering this wizard is up to them, but when they're ready to move on and travel further into the woods, they all roll a nature check. So let's say they rolled a 12. So that means the party is going to move into another hex within this same region. So the DM rolls on the Region 1 table again to find a new encounter for the group. But let's say the party rolled a 16 on their nature check. They hear the rhythm of the Windsong pick up, and it guides them into Region 2, the Wild Weald. Now the DM rolls on the Region 2 table to see what danger lurks deeper within the forest. So we got a hex crawl, we got nature checks, we got rolling on random tables. Those are all big time tabletop D&D mechanics. Not really video game mechanics, at least not Zelda video game mechanics, but hopefully you can see how they translate. How do I come up with a fun way for a group of adventurers to explore a intentionally confusing forest like the Lost Woods? You know, in the video game, you just walk around as Link until you kind of figure out the puzzle. But to be fun on the table, that has to be a little bit different. By using and combining tabletop mechanics, hopefully you can get the same feeling playing D&D at the table as you do exploring the Lost Woods in the video game. Now, is the Windsong Woods successful? I'm not 100% sure, but it was a fun challenge, and I think it's at least a cool idea. If you'd like to check out the Windsong Woods, you can get it by ordering the Dragontown zine off of my website. I'll have a link down in the description. There's lots more fun ideas in the big Dragontown zine as well. I would love to hear about your favorite video games and how you would translate some of those ideas into a fun night of playing D&D. If you found this video helpful at all, you can click the like button, or better yet, subscribe to the channel. Lots more fun videos about creating for D&D on the way. That's it for this one. Thank you so much for watching. See ya!